Thanks, guys. I've actually stolen Robin today out of the studio, and we are at her office because I want to ask her so many questions about inspiration boards. As you know, I'm a new homeowner, and as you saw last week with Carina Heating and Air, I'm doing some work on my house, so it's not exactly very clean or organized.
Beautiful
and
house.
I'm ready to get it sort of decorated a lot better. So I'm here with Robin at Robin Wilson Interior Design. Her office is downtown. Robin, why don't we just get started with what's an inspiration board and why do people care?
Yes, okay, well, here you see an inspiration board, and why people care is that everybody knows some ideas that they have in their mind, and they use words to describe them. But we all know that a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Sure, because words don't always translate. If I tell you I like something that's beautiful and classy, that could mean one thing to me, and it could mean a whole nother to you, my designer.
Exactly. So what we like to do is put together boards that create those words into photographs, and people can really respond to those. It's just as important to look at things that we like and things that we don't like. So at the beginning of a project, we like to take a look at how we program the space, which means how do we allocate the space? Do we need storage? Do we need a game room?
Okay, so the fundamentals of the use of how you're going to use the space.
Exactly.
Cool.
And then, but at the same time, we like to look at, well, what is it that we want to see when we look at that space? So do we like wood? Do we like concrete? Do we want to have more soft goods? Do we want to have carpet in certain areas? And so, and then also just the mood that you feel. I want it bright and airy and light, or I want it cozy and feel like more of a cocoon.
So this is exactly where the board comes together, so we can get the feeling for what's happening here, the different textiles. That's where this part comes in.
Exactly. So we'll start off really with just photographs. Okay. And so if you take a look at some of these images here, we're looking at the idea of putting together maybe a wall that has lighting. This happens to be a multifamily project that we're developing. And so we'll look at different areas where we might have lighting inspiration. We'll look at outdoor living areas with a piazza having lighting and hardscape, maybe a fountain. And then looking at the idea of what some concepts might be as far as furniture goes. So it's really the idea of looking at it big picture. We're not making final decisions, but we're looking at finish. We're looking at the overall feel of the space. We're looking at architectural elements that we might like. So we might want some open beam ceilings or fireplace detail. And then we're also looking at just the idea of furniture. Is it large scale? Is it small scale? And then we can work that into the space, and it allows the homeowner to really start to say, gosh, I like how that's looking, without us going too far down the wrong path.
Right, so you keep saying the idea of, and I think that's an important thing to stop on, because it's not that this photograph is 100% what's going to happen in the house. We're trying to gather a feel and a look and to make sure that we're on the right track.
Exactly. So many times we'll say, let's look at these photographs loosely, and we can weed out the ones we don't like, because it's just as important to say, I don't like this, and well, why don't you like it? And then I know that I don't go down that path, and I go a different direction. And so it's important to get that image or that mood correct. Then we can start making all the decisions as
on the
far
final
as,
details.
What paint colors and which wood do we use and those types of things.
So obviously we can see that this is for a much larger design installation, sort of very large scale going on here. But what about maybe me, the homeowner, or one of our viewers out there who might want to take on a much smaller project? Just sort of, how do they get started doing their own inspiration board?
Well, there's all kinds of great tools. So as far as images go, which is important to start with, Pinterest is a great way. There's tons of things to take a look at, right? And you can actually create a board on Pinterest.
Exactly.
So that's fantastic. Houzz, another great source, because you're seeing things that are installed in different locations, so you get the mood of that. But then it's also important to take a look at the actual finishes, and so even just a palette of colors. So heading down to Ace Hardware and selecting some paint samples, as you see here, just putting together that palette. And then of course, I am pretty old school, so I like the magazines. So I'll go through magazines and I'll find different things. I'll find overall images, or I'll see one piece of furniture or one
you can just circle it
and circle it. Exactly. Rip it out, and then I create piles all over the place.
I'm that way too, because I would want to see my board come to life, and then I would want to put it in, say, my living room, and maybe live with it there for a day, just to sort of make sure the colors are in keeping with the theme that I wanted and in keeping with the tone of the rest of my house. I have a bit of an open, long space, as you guys saw.
Well, and that's, Jordan, that's a great point, because looking at, say, these paint finishes or fabric samples, which are also important to grab and take a look at, in your space, it's going to look different than it does here.
Exactly.
And so we certainly want to look at it in the right light.
Perfect. So whether you are starting a project at home and you're going to take these tips and make your own inspiration board, or you have a large design project that you need help on, Robin Wilson Interior Design is the best in San Diego, and they are ready to help you. Give her a call today at 619-500-2144. Back to you guys in the studio, and I promise I'll have Robin back next week.
Thank you.